So we have, Kathy Wood, BlackRock wants to have an ETF, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Paul Tudor Jones, Stan Druckenmiller.
Sure.
And just across the board, it didn't take me long to understand how the unbanked could benefit from this. And I also understand the distributed ledgers, and I understand it was only, I didn't. You say you did a deep dive. It only took me about 20 pages of the Bitcoin Standard to understand that this was probably something that. Do you think all these firms are going to have egg on their face?
So the democratized, decentralized future of money is brought to you by BlackRock?
I don't know. Maybe they may. I mean, if they think it's gold, if they think it's.
That's why I was
digital gold.
Right, exactly, and that's why I was explaining the difference between.
I heard that, but
and scarcity.
A lot of smart people are fooled by it. You think it's going to zero eventually?
No, that's like a. I mean, look.
Where do you think it's going?
Story. I can't predict the future any more than anyone else, but I would say this.
You think it's going lower?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think eventually there will not be something called Bitcoin?
It's a story. It'll last as long as people believe in it.
And one thing to note from this video right here, you see that he's acting as the industry antagonist. If you look at the caption there, and why is this important to note? Because you have to be careful who you listen to and what you pay attention to, because sometimes people have underlying motives. Is he promoting a book? Is he just trying to get some publicity for something he has going on? That's probably the case. Bitcoin's not going anywhere. It's not going to zero. And with that, what's happening, Crypto Crews? Sean's coming back at you. Another cryptocurrency video. We have a jam-packed video for you today, so make sure you watch this one to the end. Getting straight to it, there could be a pullback, as he had mentioned, but it's not going to zero. And you can look at the charts and see where Bitcoin is going. So pulling up the charts and getting straight to it. What do we see? What do we anticipate? So we're looking at the Bitcoin versus the US dollar on the daily chart. And what we see here, we see that Bitcoin makes trend lines that get respected even in the next cycle. You see here, we're just in an uptrend, 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 and it has this macro support structure before we blast up to make this ultimate peak back in 2017. We extended from this line. You see that this line extended to the right acted as resistance in the next cycle and then got flipped to support in the previous cycle. So is this something that we can pay attention to continue to move forward? Well, looking at the next cycle, the bear market of 2019, we established this support level. This right here was an anomaly, black swan event with the pandemic dump, but you look what happened. We came right back up and flipped resistance to support once again and bounced off the support level again, and then ultimately blasted up to the upside. As you see how high this went up almost about 400%, 388% to be exact. And then if you extend this out, remember when we extended this one out, this acted as resistance, then support. And then if we extend this one out, how high could this be going? So this previous cycle here acted as resistance and then got flipped to support, then a bounce up. So we have a similar thing here. We could run up, hit our head to this level, acted as resistance, and then ultimately come back down, hit our head, and flip this to support later on in the year. And it could be over that $100,000 threshold and blast up to the upside. How high are we going to extend from this macro support line? Time will tell, but if we have a 136% extension, that'll take us up to $150,000 to $200,000 Bitcoin price target. And then take a look at an update from CryptoCon. The newest edition of the Bitcoin Data Newsletter Premium is released, preparing for the cycle mid-top. So as you see here, this cycle mid-top comes to this upwards level every time. You see here, we hit our head, cycle mid-top before the blast off, hit our head here, cycle mid-top, downside 40%, hit our head here, cycle mid-top, downside 53%. And right now, we're not even relatively close to being there. So there's still some time to go, but we're going to see that blast up to the upside sooner rather than later. Another update from Joe Jelly NL. A bullish megaphone pattern is playing out. Its technical targets around 33,000, well above the 31.5 resistance. So you see here, we just come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blast off, then a retest before we continuation. So 1, 2, 3, 4, this fifth leg, the 33.5 level, we will break through this, have that bullish retest before the continuation. This is definitely a bullish pattern. And then we see here from John Osterman, Bitcoin's macro spiral clock. It takes about 4 years to get around the clock, exactly 210,000 Bitcoin blocks around the clock. The next halving is scheduled to be around April of 2024. The Bitcoin bull run takes off about 6 months after the next halving. So as you see, we just are continuing to circle outwards and outwards as time progresses. And look here, as time progresses, we're just inching towards 100,000, then a million, then 10 million. How many times around this circle do we have to go before we hit the $1 and $10 million threshold? Either way you cut the cloth, any way you look at it, this is definitely a bullish indication. And then another bullish indication from Stock Money Lizards, the last crossover of OTT bands occurred 12 years ago for the S&P 500. So the S&P is looking bullish. Look what's going on. The bullish crossover, flip the retest, then bouncing up and to the right. Bullish crossover, we could have a flip to retest, then a blast up to the upside. And an upside momentum just up and to the right could be what's in the cards for the S&P, bullish for the S&P in stock markets, but also crypto as well. And then an update from Mikey Bull Crypto, not a good place to turn bearish. As you see, every single time we flip this purple to blue, bullish, purple to blue, bullish, purple's bottomed out. Every single time we're back above this line, we bounce, bounce, blast off, bounce, bounce, blast off, and bounce, bounce, blast off. So definitely a bullish indication. And then the bull run begins. Bull run occurs every 3.5 years. So 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. It's saying 500,000. If that's what's going to be in the cards for Bitcoin, time will tell. But if that's what's coming, definitely prepare and strap your seatbelt. And then from El Crypto Prof, as suspected last week, the DXY is doing a retest. The real fun begins as soon as it's done with it. This is the same picture as in 2017 and in 2020. In 2017, it took 5 months from here to the peak. In 2020, it took 10 months. So looking here, 2017, bullish retest of this blue line. This dump was that blast off. And then right here, it never really had a retest of this line, just had a bounce up, but this was that blast off. So right here, are we going to really come back up and test this before having that macro meltdown? And will this blast off into 2024? Time will definitely tell, but all in all, definitely looks bullish as DXY is definitely in a downtrend. Then an update from Patrick Bet David, a few factors why people aren't selling or buying a house. So you see why people are just sitting on their thumbs. 92% of Americans have a mortgage below 6%, 61 below 4, 23 have a mortgage below 3. So what would cause people to start selling and buying? America's run out of savings. Personal savings in America reached $686 billion in 2022, the lowest figure since 2009. 2020, we had 3 trillion, 2.5, so on and so forth. It's starting to get worse and worse, but we had an uptick as far as the savings in April of this year. We went up slightly, but savings decreases. That panic would cause owners to sell at a lower price. Unemployment is still at 3.6-ish. Congress has more power than Powell. So basically what he's saying is the economy isn't that stable. The housing market, no one's doing anything. A lot of things are at a standstill. No one's buying houses, and people are locked into their 30-year terms. What does this mean for the economy? Are we going to see a flush out? Is there going to be some type of bubble that pops? Will it be in the commercial sector? Time will tell. And with that, I'm Sean with the Bitcoin Bros. You guys like this content? Go ahead and smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and show us some love. We appreciate the support. With that, that's all I have for you today, and I'm out.